Hi, and welcome to the inaugural and debut edition of our reviews. I'm your host, Adam Westgate. Now, we're going to kick things off by talking about the Picard series. And I'll just say before we start, please like, subscribe, comment, anything you can to show some love. We are a new channel. It would be greatly appreciated. So, on to Picard. I'm going to say first, this is spoiler talk. We are not going to be avoiding anything. So if you don't want to know what happens, do not watch. Do not watch. Do not watch. I've done everything I can. So, let's start talking about the Star Trek universe, and in this edition, Picard. So, we pick up with Jean-Luc having retired to his vineyard, but simultaneously we meet a woman known as Dahj. Now, we come to know that she's a synthetic, but she thinks she's a human. So we go through the range of emotions where she's got a boyfriend 1 minute, and then the next, the Tal Shiar murder your boyfriend, and you suddenly know how to fight out of absolutely nowhere. So she knew that, she defended herself, went on the run. Pretty sensible. She sees Jean-Luc giving an interview where he's talking about the synth attack, or synth rebellion you could say, on Mars. Now, this led to the Romulans not receiving any aid after their star blew up, and Jean-Luc was really against that. I mean, a man of principle, as always, and he threatened to quit the Federation if they didn't help the Romulans. Privately, he was pro not banning synths, and the Federation took it. I mean, for a man of his distinction, for a legendary Starfleet officer, pretty extreme. So, we go through a whole range of an adventure where Dahj goes and finds Jean-Luc. He's like, what's going on? But I'm Jean-Luc, so I will let you in charitably, and I will just believe that you're not completely mad. But it turns out it's all linked back to Data. Now, Data, obviously, he died before, but he was sort of rescued with his conscience, but there's a little bit of retconning going on in Star Trek for this series, but only a smidge. We can let that off unless we're really going to be critical. But it works for the story. So it turns out that somebody known as Bruce Maddox, Doctor, created Dahj and her sister, as we come to know, because Dahj is dead, so you're like, series over! But it's not, because we're 2 episodes in. So we've got another 8 to fill, instead of just dancing around going, well, time to fill. Okay, so she has a sister. We have a Borg cube involved. It's known as the artifact, you know, and we have 7 of 9 come in the series as well, which is actually totally separate to the Borg cube, although it has some relevance. But basically, the Romulans are trying to get as much out of a old Borg cube as they can, try and get as much information. They're very begrudgingly treating the Borg, or the former Borg, okay, sort of to do with treaties and stuff. I'm not going into all of that because I haven't read through pages and pages and pages of Federation Romulan treaties. Sorry to disappoint everyone, but they can't anyway. So Picard does the only sensible thing you would do in that situation, and he takes a ragtag crew across the universe to find Bruce Maddox, to see what is happening and to try and find Dahj's sister, the one that's actually still living and currently being manipulated by the Romulans to give them information on synths, Soji. So, Soji is, as I said, being manipulated, so Picard starts with his ragtag crew. He has to sort of get used to the fact that he's not Jean-Luc, the great admiral, the great man himself, the legend, because his crew won't quite do what he says, but we get engage. So, we get the pop that we so greatly want. We get to mark out what happened before. Now, he goes across the universe, he finds Bruce Maddox sort of pretty much dead, but 7 of 9 comes in at the end, so another big character returns, and 7 of 9 is, she's great. I mean, it's really well done when she's back. She has a little bit more personality from the start than she did in Voyager, because obviously when you meet her, she's I am the Borg, I've been completely mentally unstable now because I'm a Borg, so I'm messed up, as Jean-Luc himself was. So they have a connection as well, which is, that's quite a nice dynamic to see that he's talking to somebody who would understand his predicament. Of course, 7 of 9 had it for a lot longer, so it's like Jean-Luc's problem multiplied by like 1,000,000. But they have an understanding, and they respect one another. So, Bruce Maddox then is found, he's got, but he's sort of murdered, and that's really quite inconvenient. And he's actually murdered by his former lover. Twist, spoiler. But it's actually done really well. Dr. Agnes, who's tagged along with Jean-Luc, you know, I didn't you didn't see her as the person who would do that, but at the same time it made sense. It wasn't quite as shocking as perhaps it could have been, but it was surprising. Surprising, not shocking. So, we then go in search of the Borg cube, because why not? That's where you go next. Hey, crew, Borg cube now. They do accept it. They get to the Borg cube and they find that they're a bit late because Soji has sort of given away where the homeworld is for the synths, and they've been hiding because why not? And then there's a prophecy and everything like that. So we then have the prophecy of the destroyer. The Romulans believe the universe will be destroyed by the synths, so the Romulans are trying to protect themselves and the universe, but that's just I think by coincidence. So they're pretty adamant this is going to happen. I mean, they've known about this, or thought they've known about it, for a long time and have prepared well for it. So everybody's then on a chase to the synth planet. Quick, you know, it's like Rat Race, but far better than Rat Race the film, and also less sort of treasure hunt and more sort of let's commit genocide. And eventually, of course, we then get to the synth planet. Now, the actor who plays Data plays a doctor who is the only human on the planet looking after the synths on the planet. They get there first. Jean-Luc gets there first. They come to warn them. They don't listen because they don't trust organics, which makes sense because they're trying to be murdered, and why would you trust them if there's literally some of them trying to murder you? And the Federation have kind of abandoned you. They've not killed you, but they've left you for dead. Not very good. So, we then come to the final bit. We know Picard's dying. He commits a bit of self-sacrifice in usual Picard fashion, sort of, I will do it for the greater good. But it's done really well. And you get to know Picard more. He gets put in situations. And by the way, I want to point out that the original sort of Star Trek series, there's nowhere near as much violence. But if anybody's watched Futurama, you'll get what I mean by the universe moves around the ship, that's the science. Literally everything moves around Picard. He's standing there going, oh my, and the guns are going off. He's standing there like an old man. Nothing's hitting him. Nobody's trying to shoot him. Nothing. Everybody else is committing violence, but he just sort of comes out of it unscarred mentally as well and goes, engage. But it's great, it doesn't matter, but just a little thing that literally the shooting and the guns and everything go off all around him, and he's fine, so that's cool, Jean-Luc's fine. Again, this would have killed the series if this hadn't have happened. So, we come to the end. He manages through self-sacrifice to show the synths that not everybody is out to kill the synths. The Federation, through Riker, come back to protect them, go, you get out, this is Federation space now. Not sure how they drew up that treaty quickly, but hey-ho, they did. They just said, this is Federation space. It is, I'm not going through it, but it is. And eventually, the Romulans get proven wrong. The destroyer goes away. The beacon they send out to get more things from Hades and other such things. Like just horrible things coming into our universe. It's not coming anymore. So everybody's saved. Jean-Luc's proved it. He dies, but he goes into a sequence with Data where he has a really nice conversation. And it turns out that Jean-Luc gets saved by having a new body made. So, kind of makes sense with the sort of theme of the whole series. And it's just great, yeah, he lives in the end. So, we get the happy ending, they go off, lovely jubbly. Is there going to be a second season? Who knows? I hope there is, because it was an awful lot of fun and it expanded on Jean-Luc's character. We got the old characters, we got the bang bang, everything moved around Jean-Luc. He didn't die of gunshot, he should have been dead so many times. But it was a lot of fun. I'd give it 2 thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think. Please comment on it. Please like. Just, anything you want. Thank you very much. I've been Adam Westgate. See you soon.